2018's Aquaman. I'm just gonna come right here and tell y'all, if you go see this film and watch the 3D like I did, there's a chance you might get ripped off. I wanted to go see it in 3D because of all the CGI effects that they showed off in the trailer. I thought it would look really good, but for some reason I bought a 3D ticket, but I did not get a 3D show. There was no prompt to put the glasses on, and throughout the film I was flipping those glasses on and off my head like an idiot, trying to figure out is there something wrong here. So I got ripped off. But the movie, it's not bad. It's not great. I wouldn't put it on par with Wonder Woman, but it's a fun flick. In this movie, you've got Arthur Curry, Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa. He has been a surface dweller his whole life, never been to Atlantis, had no interest in going to Atlantis, but things have changed in Atlantis. His brother, Orin, otherwise in the comic books known as Ocean Master, is positioning himself to become king, and his first real decree is to go to war with the surface over all the pollution, whale hunting, and toxic waste they've been dumping into the oceans. And it's up to Aquaman, with the help of his female friend, I can never remember her name for the life of me, to go and stop this from happening by replacing Orin as the next king. It's basically Lion King. It's basically the plot to Lion King. Now, the story, like I said, it's fun, but there's some moments that are dated. Slow motion shots when things are dramatic or emotional that just make them come off as corny and are really unnecessary. It's the kind of stuff you would see in like a romantic comedy or a drama from the 1990s. As well as, and I kid you not, a montage. Maybe you think that montages aren't out of fashion yet, but the way this one was done, with a pop song going on, and for who it was for, it felt really out of place and unnecessary. The cast overall, superb job. There wasn't anyone that I could say did terribly. Nicole Kidman really surprised me with her character. The first part of the film, you see her with Arthur's father when she washed up on the beach. I'm not gonna lie, it felt like I was watching Splash, and I mean that in a good way. Of course, with a few touches of violence, which, I'm not gonna lie, the camera work during the fight scenes and the choreography were excellent. I have never really seen this kind of camera work before, the way it would pan around to follow as they fight. And it's not jump cuts, it's not shaky cam, it is fluid, it is just on point. I really hope that becomes the standard. I hope more films do this, especially DCEU. That would help them really stand out. The rest of the supporting cast, they equally do a fantastic job. William Dafoe's character is good, I liked him, as well as Dolph Lundgren's. We don't get a lot of him, but what few moments we do get, they work. Amber Heard's character as Mira, I finally remembered her name. She does a decent job, although her powers are a bit inconsistent. There are times where she is a complete powerhouse, but then there's other times where she comes off as a damsel in distress. And I'm sorry, one of the weak points was the relationship she has with Aquaman. It didn't come off as a budding relationship. It didn't feel like romance was building. It felt more like a brother and sister dynamic, which made, when they finally started kissing each other, really awkward. But now comes to Aquaman, Jason Momoa. Now, Jason Momoa, he brings a lot of fun to the character. He has a lot of fun in the scenes. You can tell if he's not having fun, he's at least trying to sell it. But he does a decent job. My big problem here is there's someone in this film that, in my opinion, my personal opinion, would have made the better Aquaman. This may be a little controversial, but I'll try it, but try to bear with me. Now, I understand why they decided to go this route with Aquaman. They wanted to add some more diversity to the Justice League team, or at least the founding members. So they decided to transition Aquaman into someone of a Pacific Islander heritage, as opposed to the blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy that you see in the comics. But Patrick Wilson, the guy who plays Ocean Master, Orin, his look is right there. That is classic Aquaman. He looks like Aquaman from the comics. And the way he postures and is so imposing in this film, he feels like a king. I just couldn't help but look at him and think, you would be perfect where Jason Momoa is standing right now. You would have been great in the Justice League film. I think that's a missed opportunity, but I'm not saying that Momoa couldn't do it. It's just, well, to be fair, Momoa, he's got a very signature look. You're never going to see him play any real, out of the ordinary roles for him. He's always going to play the buff dude. He doesn't really have the range for anything else. And he's really recognizable that way. It's kind of like when they put Will Smith as Deadshot in Suicide Squad. Nobody saw Deadshot. Everybody saw Will Smith playing Deadshot, and that's what I'm getting here. I'm not getting Aquaman, I'm getting Jason Momoa playing Aquaman. I gotta mention the music as well because it was unusual. Whenever they're underwater, the music kind of takes on a techno feel. And there's some moments with all the colorfulness going on where I felt like I was watching Tron, or a version of Tron. Not a complaint, just an observation. There was especially one scene where it was like an escape scene from Atlantis. Me and the people I went with, both afterwards talking to each other, said the same thing, that we thought we were watching Tron for a moment. And some of the other stuff that goes on during the scenes, especially during the playfulness between Arthur Curry and Mira's character, it felt kind of dated too. It felt like it was something from a 90s or 2000s romantic comedy. But again, that's one thing. The effects, though. The whole reason I went 3D and got ripped off was because I wanted to see those effects in 3D, but the effects, they were freaking fantastic. This movie is heavy on CGI, it has to be. It's underwater, so it might as well be in space. They are really well done. I loved it all, and you can tell that that's where most of the budget went. Also because when they're not underwater, when they're on the surface or, well, anywhere outside the water, it kind of has a made-for-TV feel to it. And that extends to some of the costuming, as well as, unfortunately, for Black Manta. Black Manta is a bit of a throwaway character in this film. He's just introduced, you get a bit of his origin story, you see him maybe one time as Black Manta, and then that's it. When you see his costume, or at least for me, when I saw his costume in broad daylight, not in the dark, it kind of looked as cheap as the other costumes. Yeah. Overall, though, I'd give this film a 7 out of 10. It's a decent flick. You'd probably enjoy it. If anything, it's maybe a good one-time show. I don't know if I want to watch it again. I'll just wait and see when it comes out on DVD. Well, that's all. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, subscribe, like, comment down below.